Welcome to the Peak Performance and Peak Satisfaction podcast with Master Executive Coach Sherry Gregoff. Sherry helps business people perform better, get rewarded handsomely, and actually enjoy their work. After having her own career turnaround, she now helps other high-powered business professionals experience the same. Join the movement to work differently.
Welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here. On the verge of a quarter-life, midlife, or end-of-career crisis, you are not alone. Turns out there are natural milestones in our career that has us searching for more. I've heard clients describe it as asking, "Is this all there is?" and feeling a pull towards something new. Media would have you think that single demographics are opting out of the business world in droves. I offer an alternate theory. We are designed for growth and contribution. When we have outgrown our current situation, it can feel like a crisis, but it's just an evolution of our definition of success. Before we jump in, I want to shout out one of my clients who had a win in this area. Here is the quote from her. Sherry showed me that I could redefine success for myself in this stage of life. I realize now that sacrifices I made in my health and relationships weren't worth it. I can reorient my work and life around the priorities that I have right now because it's never too late. This client joined me in a free consultation, feeling disenfranchised with her career. She had worked hard and prioritized her work for decades. When a leadership change and reorganization pulled the rug out from underneath her, she was so frustrated with how she was being treated and the outcome at a company where she had devoted so much that she walked away. She was facing this new reality of how to reconcile how much time she invested in that role that went sideways so suddenly. She labeled it burnout and thought a sabbatical traveling to distant lands would be the cure. But alas, when she returned home, all the big questions remained. What did she want next? What needed to change? In her free consultation alone, we teased out her priorities and began to define success on her terms, including the role that work would play in her life going forward, and what were now non-negotiables, no matter how pressing the work seemed. The big transformation in the space of a single hour was realizing that her situation wasn't broken. It was purely time for recalibration around what was important to her now, to move forward in a way that felt more aligned with more satisfaction. In a single session, we moved from stuck and confused to energized and compelled forward by a new vision for her future that she could start stepping into tomorrow and watching progress day after day. This was a fresh start, a new chapter, and following our session, she had renewed hope that it would be better than her last. Similar victories are shared by all of my clients, and I have experienced it too in my own career turnaround. So let's hop to today's podcast content and get you on your way to experiencing this also. The crisis that seems to come with a certain age. We can be dramatic about it, but all it is growth. For your whole career and life even, you may have worked towards a specific role. Your drive and efforts may have centered on this particular vision that you had for your work and life. And then, at some point, you feel different. The shiny object of the game lost its luster. Or maybe you achieved the goals you had set and assumed that you would then be content to stay in that vision you set for yourself even years ago. But you got there, and now you feel called to something more or something different. When this occurs, we assume that something has gone wrong. This was supposed to be when you felt a deep sense of peace and accomplishment, or so you thought. And now here you are, either having achieved what you set out to do, or nearly there, or far past your original plan, and it feels like something is changing underfoot. This shift is what we can start to think of as a crisis of sorts, perhaps an identity crisis. Your identity might be evolving, and as a result, your definition of success may have changed. This can feel disorienting, especially if that definition of success is what drove your choices in childhood, in college, and in your adult years to date. When we feel differently, it can feel like our North Star has vanished, or the dial on our compass is just spinning. I have clients who are several years into their professional careers that face this. They thought they would dedicate most of their waking hours to intense work in an industry that they would then outgrow. They would earn their seat, and then they could take the foot off the gas to relax. But several years in, they realize that isn't an automatic career milestone that occurs. If they are going to find work-life balance, it's going to be their doing, not something that is handed to them on a silver platter. This realization that the chase is actually a hamster wheel can be startling. The disillusions have worn off, and now what? They question their career direction from the start. They question whether any success they achieved by overworking is worth continuing. They may be marrying their partner or looking to start a family, and suddenly their standards have risen. Working like a dog isn't conducive, it turns out, to having a full and multidimensional life where you show up fully for the people you care about. I should note that this crisis can occur at quarter life or any time thereafter. I have clients who realize they sacrificed much for professional success for a long time and now question it all. This is where you may see people walk off the job, disgusted at the trade-off that they have now outgrown. If you can relate to this, know this: success from sacrifice is not sustainable. Whatever you sacrifice to get to the level of success that you targeted, you will keep sacrificing to keep that level of success. It is a myth that we can buy into that short-term sacrifice paves the way for easy street up ahead. I have simply never seen it happen unless the leader takes it by force. And by that, I mean they decide that they will no longer sacrifice their health, well-being, and relationships for professional success. If this is an aspect to your redefining of success, lock it in with me now. Borrow this belief instead. A well-rounded leader with a full life is a stronger leader. They have leadership lessons from a variety of environments, a deep support network, and excellent health. All of this makes them more productive and effective in their work. I have clients who are in their 40s and their career goals are changing. They have ideas about new roles and specializations that they thought might be their second act after retirement. Now it becomes a full-on itch to pursue a new area and to reinvent themselves in a new career. They think it seems selfish or ungrateful for the success they created to date. They may think they have to wait for retirement age to do more philanthropy or service, or to pursue that special interest. I love showing clients how their second act is really just a vision they have that they could start at any time. It doesn't have to mean burning the boats and burning bridges. They can take evening classes. They can use free time to explore their second act. We are capable of more than we think. In my experience, pursuing another interest outside of work hours didn't make me feel more tired or less rested. It energized me for every other thing in my life. So if a career change of sorts is sounding appealing to you, do some homework. Explore your strengths, your interests, and passions. Try them on for size by volunteering or shadowing or moonlighting. It's never too late to start something new or even to reinvent yourself. If you can relate to this, know this: the future is not guaranteed. Don't plan to do something you are super passionate about after retirement if it's still a ways off. Take steps to check it out now. All we really have is this present moment. You may be incredibly energized by pursuing these interests in your spare time. You know, the time you could be scrolling, or binge watching, or shopping, or overindulging. Spending it in curious exploration and learning will feel so much better as you are doing it and long after. Don't ignore a pull towards another interest. Explore it. If a desire bubbled up within you, it's worth investigating. Our intuition serves a purpose. Yield to the steer that you might be feeling, if nothing else, to learn something new. I have clients who are in their final years of working. Their targeted retirement age is approaching, and now the panic is setting in. Their identity and security had been so wrapped up in their current title that the prospect of leaving is terrifying. They feel torn between enjoying the retirement they had dreamt about for so long and staying in a place where everybody knows their name and where they're held in high regard for their contributions. They may at the same time fear being pushed out ahead of the time that they want to leave. Clinging to their current identity and even the comfort from a regular incoming paycheck is so common, whether they have saved enough to retire comfortably or not. I know people who were let go from their jobs years from retirement and are spinning trying to find new opportunities. They don't want to settle or sidestep or step down or accept a role that they feel pays less than what they are worth. If you can relate to this, it's time to start seeing retirement or even job loss in this season, not as the end, but as the beginning. Start designing what you want your next chapter to look like, whether it's full weekdays contributing to an organization using your intellectual capacity, or physically giving the energy you have in a less mentally taxing environment, or doubling down on what can be high-pressure environments and offering to help watch your grandkids. I'm joking. Well, I'm not really joking. The point is that this is just the next chapter, whether you are turning to it in any decade of life. We are always reinventing ourselves. We can embrace the opportunities to do so or let them pass us by. In every case, it's a decision point. Maybe you find yourself at one right now. Maybe you got paid your annual incentive compensation recently, and the free agent period is open now. You see peers and friends leaving for new roles. You feel this calling to reevaluate, to lift your head up from the busy work days, to critically consider, what do I want next? No, but really, you. What do you want next? Maybe it's not the long hours to prove to someone else that you are worthy of the next title or raise. Maybe it's not the senior role that you worked so hard to get in the first place. Maybe it's not continuing working in the same role because of the familiarity and purpose it has given you for a lifetime to date. The truth is, every day we are making decisions. We are deciding what reality we will tolerate. We're setting our own standards. We're committing to the work and life we design and accept. And if our current reality no longer meets our standards, we no longer want to tolerate it, then it's time to design the next chapter of your work and life. Nothing has gone wrong here. As humans, we evolve. Imagine what a bore it would be if we chose a specific profession as soon as we turned working age and then worked it without questioning it until retirement. How incredibly static that would be. The danger of adulting and succumbing to routine and status quo is real. But when our higher level thinking starts steering us towards a brighter and bigger future, our survival brain will seek retreat. This happens when our definition of success evolves and our lifestyle and philosophy lags it. We may not be fully self-aware that our vision for success is changing. We may feel a sense of discomfort and conflict as that vision is taking shape. We wonder what's gotten into us because we presumed that what we are working towards would stay consistent as time went on. So having questions come up like, is this it? Why doesn't this feel the way I thought it would? I did everything right, so why does something feel off? This does not mean failure or that something is broken, and it's not a lack of gratitude for the success and experience that you have, and it is not you doing something wrong. It turns out these inflection points that society sometimes conflates with crises that bring on new sports cars are well documented and well researched. If you are feeling a strong pull towards something new and different, I want you to know that you are not alone. And in fact, this is normal and expected. It's also constructive. In positive psychology, Tal Ben-Shahar calls this the arrival fallacy. The idea that when we reach a certain milestone, be it title, compensation, recognition, we believe that is where fulfillment will finally live. And then we get there, and it doesn't feel the way we expected. The gap that you feel there, it's not a problem to be fixed. It's a signal to reassess. I sometimes call this someday island. Someday, when I'm over there with that different circumstance, then I will be happy. It just doesn't work that way. If we can't find contentment where we are, we will lose the ability to design a different future. The arrival fallacy is spot on in that it's not our changing circumstances that will make us happy. We must find happiness first for our circumstances to catch up. There's also research from Jonathan Rausch that shows happiness follows a U-shaped curve over the course of our lives and careers. We often start out optimistic and driven. Then somewhere in the middle, often right when we are objectively the most successful, we experience a dip and more questioning. That dip is not you falling behind, it's you recalibrating. Once you redefine your priorities to align them with your values and what is important to you now, your happiness increases once again. Nothing has gone wrong here. We grew and evolved. And until we realign our work and life with our current priorities, our happiness will suffer. I would love to see this season more normalized and recognized so we can stop judging ourselves for having a crisis and instead see it as a recalibration, a realignment. From a developmental psychology perspective, Robert Keegan explains this as a transition in how we make meaning. Early in our careers, we define success based on external validation. What is rewarded, what's promoted, what gets approval in the form of titles and raises. And at some point, that social, external validation stops being enough. We move into a stage where we want to define success for ourselves, not based on others' expectations, but based on alignment with our unique priorities and values. Sometimes this shift is triggered by a specific moment. It could be a promotion, a leadership role, a job loss. It could even be meaningful personal loss, a diagnosis, a change in your home life. This is what researchers in life course theory would call a life event that disrupts your existing identity. The role changes, but your definition of success hasn't caught up yet. Your old identity no longer fits your new reality. So now there's this friction. We have role-based success, but not whole life success. And for many of you, this shows up as burnout. The World Health Organization defines burnout as an occupational phenomenon tied to chronic workplace stress. That chronic stress leads to exhaustion, cynicism, and reduced effectiveness. But here's what I see in my clients. It's not just about working too hard, or overemphasizing productivity. It's about working in a way that's no longer aligned with who you are becoming. It's about working misaligned. And then there's one of my favorite frameworks from David Brooks. He describes 2 phases. The first mountain that we climb in our career is about achievement, success, proving ourselves, status achievement. The second mountain is about meaning, contribution, impact, purpose. Many of you listening may have already climbed that first mountain. You have great professional success, and you're there, standing, looking out, thinking, there has to be more than this. So if you are in this moment right now, questioning, reassessing, wanting more ease, enjoyment, and more alignment, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not off track. You are evolving. And this is the exact moment where you get to redefine success on your own terms. That moment isn't confusion or crisis. It's the inflection point that is the start of intentional leadership. To frame it against the 4-dimensional results that I build with my clients. First, excellence in their work. You may have already achieved tremendous excellence in your work. You may even want next level excellence. But let's keep going. The second dimension is ease. It may feel like a grind to deliver with that level of excellence. Ease is missing, and burnout shows up from misalignment and/or overworking. Third is earnings. You may have plateaued, or you feel that your earnings are insufficient relative to the effort that you're expending. The cost-benefit analysis of your career no longer adds up. And fourth, enjoyment. This is usually the biggest gap and the wake-up call. You may have a wildly successful career, but it's no longer fun. It detracts from your days rather than adding to them. So if any of these 4 dimensions are lackluster for you, this is the perfect time to define success on your own terms. And that is the next step for you today, to stop chasing the definition of success that you had for yourself earlier in your career, or that your parents wound you up to chase, or that your company is promoting to you, or that your peers or friends are aiming for. Your definition of success is on your terms. To help jumpstart you on this, here are some aspects of the most common examples of new definitions of success that I see most often. I'm hoping that hearing some of these paths forward can help you curate your updated vision for your work and life. Number 1, more balance rather than more scope. When my clients tell me that more flexibility and more time in their relationships or hobbies are more important to them than the next promotion or making more money, they often sound apologetic. I think we can be programmed to hunt for more success in those forms and sometimes lose sight of what we truly want and what's most important to us. If this is you, don't apologize. You don't need to chase money or titles. You can seek and create more time and energy for your loved ones and your own health. In fact, these are less at odds than you can imagine. I love helping my clients find 3-way wins, activities or habits that contribute to their success at work, in their health, and in their relationships, all at the same time. Number 2, opting out of the structure, not opting out of ambition. Some clients tell me that the structure at their company no longer accommodates people in their stage of life. Maybe it's the sandwich generation who needs flexibility to care for aging parents and young children. Maybe they have outside businesses and hobbies that require time away from the office for extended periods, and this particular role just won't allow for it. We don't have to suffer within a structure because it's where we landed. We can seek other roles and businesses that allow us to achieve our goals. I have clients be adamant with me that this doesn't mean that they're less ambitious. In fact, they feel more driven than ever to make an impact. But they have outgrown the structure that limited them before, so they seek out new roles and organizations that can accommodate their growing vision. Number 3, running towards a new opportunity rather than running from a role or company or boss. If you find yourself lamenting specific circumstances in your current situation, a boss, a role, a company, an industry, I help you neutralize that first. We can't create bold new definitions of success when we are distracted by our external situation or even villainizing external circumstances as the reason for our dissatisfaction. We need to accept people and environments for the areas that we can't change or influence and make the decision for ourselves whether we will continue to participate in it or not. Usually when we feel angry at others or the situation, it's redirected from feeling anger with ourselves for not having changed it. So what I tell people is to be sure that you are running towards something rather than running from something. Otherwise, you run the risk of running from your current situation and recreating the same scenario at your new role. We have got to empower you first to choose and sustain an environment that supports your vision. Number 4, portfolio careers, second acts, sunsetting. It's more common now to start to have another set of goals in retirement, separate from the roles that we've had for most of our career. Portfolio careers is the idea of not having all of our eggs in one basket, but just like one might diversify a portfolio, we diversify our interests and our contributions. Second acts might be pursuing more purpose-driven rather than profit-driven ventures. What's interesting is that we have very specific stories and timeframes about when these new ventures are permitted to begin. Because when we started working, we figured we would work that role until age 65. We think we couldn't possibly update that plan as we go. I challenge people that if they have a clear second act that they want to pursue, when will the time be, quote-unquote, right? This can break us out of pursuing an old definition of success when it no longer applies. I hope these 4 leads give you a head start on defining success for yourself right now in this season. Don't do this on your own. Join me in a free consultation and we will discuss what success looks like for you without the noise and distraction or even the expired commitment to a definition that's now out of date. In 1 hour, you will be clear on how to move forward and what you will create next. Schedule yours at the first link in the show notes now. We are redefining success, not for a lack of ambition, but a renewed ambition to pursue the definition of success that we're deciding now on our own terms, more driven than ever. I would offer that this could be your most rewarding season yet. Until next time.
Looking for support in applying the principles and strategies in today's episode? Sherry coaches clients one-on-one as their trusted confidant and advisor, helping each client create the work and life they had only dreamed of. To schedule your complimentary career strategy session, go to sherrygregoff.com/apply to book time with her today. It's one simple step that can change everything.